Hey, welcome to the Strong Roots Podcast. My name is Kristen Hill, and we are so excited that you're tuning in today. Our prayer is that you would move one step closer to Jesus through this series. So go ahead and check out this next episode. Welcome to the Strong Roots Podcast. I'm here with Diane Kingma, and I'm going to be picking her brain about what she wished she would have known sooner. And if you listen to her last one, she's a wealth of knowledge and information and wisdom. She loves the Lord, and I'm so excited to pick your brain again today. And I want to, off the bat, want to ask, so you love Jesus, you follow him so clearly in your life. How did you determine the vision for your life in this way?
It's funny because I knew you were going to ask that question, and I've always love Jesus and whatever, but I think as you grow and as you mature and as God gives you trials or joys, your vision shifts a little. Because when you have kids, your vision is really a lot about your kids. You know, I mean, you're pouring into them, you're trying to teach them Jesus, you're trying to do all that, and now they're gone. And it's like, okay. So I've been praying, it's like, okay, what is my vision? I mean, I kind of know what vision is, but I didn't know how to put it in words. And then yesterday I was doing a Bible app with some Bible app friends, and this statement came on my thing, and it was like, this is it. And it says, what is my reason for existence? To glorify God and enjoy him forever. And it comes from Colossians 1:9-11. Glorify God in the way you walk, your day-to-day lives, and with that that will come a joy for him. And it's like, that is what it is. It isn't just about serving. It isn't just about worship. It's about glorifying God every day in everything. That's it. It's like, God, thank you, because that was my answer.
That's so good. That's so good. So how do you practically do that?
God gives me different ways to do that. I love to serve, so I will say yes to all kinds of things, and that to me is just a way to glorify God, and worshiping on Sunday and doing Bible apps with people and learning from them and me learning and them learning, and just every day God will give me something. He'll say, pray for that person. Okay, or send that person a note, or just whatever. And you just have to listen. That's a big thing. Listen, because you can ignore it really easy. Like do that later. But listen.
Oh, that's so good. So I'm going to get specific with this question, what I wish I would have known sooner. So let's go to your marriage, because she has a great marriage. Her husband's a wonderful man. But what do you wish you would have known sooner when it comes to marriage?
To let go of the little things. There are those little things that the other person does that just drives you crazy, and I would stress about them, and I would worry about them. You get this growly, not really telling John about it, but just internalizing it. And it's like, an hour later you go, oh, so what? I mean, that is not a big deal.
Yes.
And so just let the little stuff go, because you're not going to change it. You could nag on them forever. It's how they are, okay? Just let it go.
Right. So how about this question in regards to friendships? Like, what do you wish you would have known sooner when it comes to friendships?
To pick the right people.
Ooh. How do you pick the right people?
Well, sometimes you don't.
Right.
But they need to be someone you can look up to, someone you can support, someone, who's going to help you and you can help them, not someone who's going to be negative all the time.
Right.
Because that's really hard.
Yes, absolutely. So now we're going to go to kids. What do you wish you would have known sooner when raising your kids?
Raising my kids. To let them make their own decisions, I think, is huge.
Wow.
I know, and it's really hard, because when you're little, you just want to protect them, and you want to be,
yes.
I'll just, don't do that, and don't do that, and, because they got to make their own mistakes, because otherwise they don't learn.
Right.
You got to let them go. You got to trust them. You got to give them responsibility, because they're going to need it later.
What mistake do you wish you would have let your kids do sooner?
Probably make choices on their friends sooner. We were really careful with who their friends were. And then in high school, they got to pick whoever they wanted, and And they picked some great people, but they picked some other people that I probably wouldn't have been all that crazy about them picking, but they learned things from it. You know, they learned how to navigate that on their own and how to make wise choices. And, you know, oh, this person invited me to this and I shouldn't go, and now I've got to deal with that. And
right.
So they got to learn those lessons before they leave your house. Because once they get out into college or into the world, you're not even there to back them up. You know, they're just there.
Right.
And so let them make them when you still are there to help them pick up the pieces.
Absolutely. What is it? Okay, so now I'm going to ask about church. What do you wish you would have known sooner when it comes to church and the body and all that kind of stuff?
To listen to God.
Ooh, what do you mean by that?
Well, I had to wait, you know, oh yeah, this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do, you know, and God, you're okay with that, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, but sometimes I wonder, would it have been better if I'd have listened and gone where he had gone? And my latest thing the last few years has been follow. And I read a thing on Jesus when there was a rabbi in the Bible and they asked someone to follow them. It meant in the dust of their sandals. So you followed so close, you were right there behind him. And if you're following that close, you're not looking over here going, I wonder if I should take that path. Or, oh, look what they're doing over there.
Yes.
You're just following. And they're already ahead of you. So you don't have to worry about what scary, nasty things may be coming your way because Jesus is there before you got there.
Yeah.
All you got to do is follow. And it has been so freeing and so easy because he's there. And all I got to do is follow. And so when I start to fret and worry and should I, would I, could I, Diane, you got to follow. Just follow. That's it.
How do you hear his voice? I think a lot of people listening are like, but how do I do that? I know it looks different for everyone.
I know, it does. And kids have asked me this in Sunday school all the time because I tell them, you know, God talks to them. Well, how does he talk to you? You know, because we're hearing about Moses and he's coming down through a cloud. And that's not how God talks to me. A lot of it is when my favorite place to talk to God is when I'm mowing, quite honestly, because it takes me about an hour and a half to mow my lawn, you know. So I'm just out there, you're driving back and forth. It is, you know, not a very mindful job, just keep making circles. So I can just talk to God and say, hey, God, I'm thinking about this. And then stuff will just start coming in my head. And when I know it starts coming in my head, I know that's from God because he'll just give me a thing. You know, I'm thinking, oh, we should do this in children's worship. The next morning I'll come up with, oh, that is a great idea. I'll write that down.
Yes.
Because that's God telling me, okay, this is what you need to do. Okay, this is what you need to tell the kids this week. This is what, you know. It just comes to my head. And I know it can't be me because it would pop in that fast. And it just pops in and you just go, okay, I wasn't thinking about that at all. Now all of a sudden that's got to be from God. I need to, you know, do what this tells me or write this down or follow.
Absolutely. And it lines up with God's word. And I love even you were thinking about this question and you just had it pop in your Bible.
Yeah. Okay, here's the verse. It's like, okay, thank you, God, because that's the verse.
Yes. So I love the answer to that question. So how do you live with eternity in mind?
I think it has to be your choices. You know, think, okay, is this going to matter in 5 minutes? Is this going to matter in 5 years? Is this going to matter in 10 years? Or is this going to matter forever?
Yeah.
Because so many of the things we think are just going to be amazing and we have to do and, you know, oh, my kids have to sign up for this and this and this and this because, you know, it's going to be great. In 5 years, isn't going to matter.
Right.
So that's, you know, you just have to ask yourself, okay, is this going to matter in eternity or is this going to matter an hour from now?
So it's pausing and asking those clarifying questions.
Yeah.
So that is so good. So talking about what I wish I'd known sooner, my mind immediately jumps to a bunch of mistakes I've made that I learned the hard way, right? I can think of a plethora. So when talking to you, like, what are things you had to learn the hard way that you wish you could tell 20-year-old Diane, like, don't do that, don't learn the hard way?
Well, because 20-year-old Diane, you know, had grown up in the church and knew exactly what we're supposed to do, you know, do my devotions and da-da-da-da-da-da, and it was a checklist, I mean, really. And I knew God, but I didn't really walk with him every day or all the time, you know. It was more, okay, yeah, this is my God part, and this is my kid part, and this is my, you know.
Yes.
And it took some time, and, you know, God speaking to you, saying, no, I want this part too, and I need this part too, and you need to just let go and let me do it. And that was the hardest part, was letting the go, because I liked being in control. Yes. I liked it a lot. So, you know, so somebody else, nope, I will go wherever I will just follow you. Mm-hmm. That took a lot, and it took years for me to be able to say, okay, no matter what, I will follow you.
What was the hardest thing to let go?
My kids.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because you didn't know what was going to happen to them, you know? I mean, what if God wanted them to be missionaries in Kuwait or something, you know? It was like, no, I don't want them to go there. Yeah. I want them to stay safe. I want them to be here with me.
Right.
And I finally had to let them go. I said, okay, God, whatever, you know, they're yours.
How did you do that?
Like a lot of prayer. And God finally says, no, I've got this. And it was good, you know, and I could just let that go, and it was freeing, and it was, you know, it was what God needed me to do.
Would you recommend for all the young parents listening, like, start praying to give your kids to God now, as soon as possible?
Yes, because I waited too long, you know, because like, the longer you wait, it's harder to do it, because you just now, you know, your entire life is wrapped up in that kid.
Heck yes, yes.
And, you know, that is good when they're very tiny and they can't do anything, but,
yeah,
you know, they had to make their own God choices, and they had to make their own life choices, and, you know, so pray for them now that they will make wise choices, and that know that God's got it. He's got a plan.
Right.
And you just got to trust.
What's the biggest mistake? I don't know if that's a word I want to use, but what's one of the biggest mistakes you've made in your marriage? That, like, if you could talk to 20-year-old Diane, be like,
20-year-old Diane, not spending enough time together, especially when the kids were little. It was all about the kids. I can tell you that right now. And we did not spend enough time together, you know, just the two of us.
Right.
Everything was family. I wish we'd have spent more time then. We do now, and it is wonderful. And, you know, we've gotten through that part where, you know, we should have spent more time together and didn't.
Right.
And now, you know, we go on vacations together, and wherever, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful, and you can just relax and crash out. And
yeah. How would you recommend to young families making time for your spouse?
And it doesn't have to be a lot of time. Just go out to dinner, or, you know, get some neighbor to babysit the kids for a couple hours, or whatever, you know, trade with them. Yeah. Just make the time, because there'll be the time, but you have to make it, you know.
Yeah.
Because you can waste time on lots of other things.
Yep. But
spend that time with your spouse.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, the kids are going to leave. He's still going to be there.
Yes. It's so true. Anything spiritually. I think I want to end with this. Like, anything spiritually that you're like, I wish I would have started doing this 20 years ago.
I wish I would have started doing, like, the life group and the Bible apps and stuff more than I did then. You know, it was there, but it wasn't. Now, you know, I'm on a life group app with a group lots of times.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're finding their perspective. You're reading them, going, wow, I didn't see that in that passage, you know, and, oh, yeah, this is good over here, and I can put in things, and they can put in things. Because you can't see it all yourself, and because they have a different perspective, and it can be, you learn so much that way.
Yeah. How do you, because you've lived a long time following Christ, how do you get over the times where maybe your faith feels dry? Maybe you feel far from God. Maybe those moments, you felt like those moments.
Oh, yeah.
For people listening who maybe haven't experienced yet, they're going to, or people who are going through one, what would you say to them?
Just keep following again.
Yes.
Because you're going to come out on the other side.
Yep.
You know, it's going to happen sooner, later, whenever. That's God's timing. Just keep at it. Even though you think, okay, I'm not learning anything, and this doesn't make any sense, and I'm just going through the motions. Keep going.
Yes.
Because He's coming. He's going to talk to you. You're going to know.
Absolutely. Oh, it's so good.
Don't give up.
Yes, it's so good. I'm going to end with that. Like, so all of you who are listening right now, don't give up. Keep following. Follow in His footsteps. Follow in the dirt, like you said. Like, just keep following, and no matter where you're at, whether you're on a spiritual high or whether you are in a spiritual low, or maybe you haven't even chosen to follow Jesus yet, take the journey. Put one step in. Just test it out and see where it leads you. Thank you so much, Diane.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I love having you. So good to learn from you. And thank you guys for listening. We cannot wait to learn again next time.
If
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow us on our other social media platforms. We don't want you to miss out on any future content. Thank you so much again, guys. I hope you have a great day. And I want you to know I am personally praying that your roots stay strong.